So thank you. For those of you who never saw me, I'm Marko Bobinac. I'm Gemalto pre-sales engineer. I'm covering all of Gemalto identity and data protection solutions. So from hardware security modules to high-speed encryption to authentication products to key management, which does virtual machine encryption, file-based encryption, so all kinds of interesting stuff. I was actually asked to present a real life use case, what we have in the Czech Republic. I cannot mention the name of the customer, but I will briefly explain a few things, how the project took over and what is on the end the reality when you start, let's say, key management sort of a project. Just a short definition, because although the title of the presentation is key management, I wouldn't 100% agree that it's exactly the key management that you might be thinking about. So if we take a look at the foundation of the security that Gemalto can provide, so we have some software that does the provisioning. We have hardware security modules to create the root of trust for various systems. And on top of those, we have our enterprise key management. The topic of today will be partially covered by the key management, but mostly from the side of HSM, which is providing the root of trust. So HSM can be used partially as a key manager because it's storing and managing the keys. But as Gemalto, we also have another device which is specifically focused on additional key management operations, such as limiting access of different users, deciding if the key can be used per hour for more than 100 times, or at which hour of the day the key can be used. So the focus of today's presentation, the use case, will actually be providing a root of trust with the SafeNet Gemalto HSM. PKI, if I would have a questionnaire at the beginning, what is a PKI? In global, the idea would be the same, but the definitions that you would provide would be quite wide. There is actually a definition which you can find on the internet, and this is what I put together. It's not so, let's say, large definition, but the reality is when you talk about PKI, or if you're deploying a PKI infrastructure, there is really a lot of components that consist for the PKI architecture, so certification authorities and many other parties. Applications that are then using PKI cover multiple use cases, so from strong authentication for access to different resources, for network access, so that it's not just the user, but you also give, through PKI, you give the identity of a specific machine, let's say a corporate laptop, and based on that identity, based on the certificate on the laptop, the machine is able to connect to the corporate network. So if you plug in the uncertified machine, that it doesn't have this kind of corporate identity, the machine will not be able to operate on the network without any additional change. VPNs, web services, and so on. When we are talking about the PKI, I'm kind of skipping the part for the hardware security modules. There was no time today to talk about this topic. But if you are deploying the PKI infrastructure, there are basically two ways. One way is to keep the keys in software, which there are many documents available why this is a bad idea. Or the proper way of deploying the PKI, which is that you should remove the keys from the servers itself, so that any kind of application cannot access the key, cannot grab a key, duplicate, do whatever it wants to do with the key, that you move the key to an external device, and you allow only authorized applications to access that. This gives you performance advantages, but mostly security. The key cannot be used outside the hardware, and you always have the full control, and you can do all kinds of auditing on that solution. So this is somehow how the project started with this customer in Czech Republic. They were deploying PKI. They actually already had some HSMs inside, so they were aware that if they want to protect the PKI keys, So the keys which will be used for signing each of the identities, either for computers or for users, they have to use a hardware security module. For those of you who are not aware, HSMs are used daily in really various systems, because HSM provides a trust anchor. So whenever you have an infrastructure where you have a sort of business critical crypto keys, regardless if this is a payment application, if this is PKI, you will see some extended use cases on the end, you need to secure the keys inside the hardware. There is just no other way. The architecture, how it looked like at the beginning, this is something how the meeting actually started. But I was already aware that this is not the way how the meeting is going to end. So it's clear when you have a PKI, you have a certain list of certification authorities, and you need to secure those keys with an HSM. If it's a network attached, you can use just one HSM and connect from multiple certification authorities. But that's not the point of this use case. The reality is that nowadays, HSMs should be used everywhere. This is also what this customer is currently deploying, because the idea that they had is, yes, we need to secure the infrastructure. So in the infrastructure, the only important component for us is the PKI, because this is where the people get their identities, this is where the machines will be authorized, will get their certificates. But after the discussion, they figured out that keys are everywhere, and they need to secure those keys. So when we showed them this, the conversation totally changed, because what we've been telling them in the past is now becoming the reality. That the PKI guys in the company are slowly moving to become the crypto guys, to become the trusted anchors, because the PKI guys more or less know the HSMs already from the past. So it's the same guys who are then offering this kind of service to multiple other departments. The next questions that I had for that customer was, okay, you're a big company, so I bet you have a list of web servers which you use internally, and you also publish some of the websites to your customers. I said, yeah, we have like, I don't know, tens of web servers. And my next question, of course, is probably, if you're doing it in a smart way, you don't have those web servers exposed directly, because there are much better solutions to consolidate, to protect your stuff. And they said, yeah, you know, we have something that is called F5 big IP. We said, good, we can integrate with that one. So the HSM story actually grew. Mr. Novak, who's coming after me, will tell you more about the F5, about the use case of an F5 together with an HSM. But this is nowadays the reality. So the point of my presentation was that the ecosystem for the HSM is really expanding, that you will probably start something with the PKI or with a small solution, but then you will actually see that once you have the HSM in your company, you can utilize it for multiple systems. I mean, not you can, but actually you should. There are several reasons coming from last year, from Heartbleed, from multiple other stuff, why you should do all the stuff in the hardware. This is all actually from my side. I'd like to thank you all for coming to my part of the presentation, and I would like now to invite Mr. Novak to continue with the F5. Thank you.